Ten hut! All right, right. We're talking
Wedding etiquette boot camp. Way to go. It is so good
With-
to have you here, Antoinette. Holly's hot wedding tips. So tell me all about what common mistakes you see couples making as they planning a wedding.
Well, Holly, I see so many mistakes, but the very biggest mistake I see is not going and doing the most important thing first, which is some counseling.
Really?
Everybody gets so concerned about jumping into the party and jumping into the planning and finding the dress and the destination that I think they forget the most critical part is to find out first if this is really going to be something you're going to be compatible for the rest of your lives. So
That
I
is amazing.
strongly suggest counseling before wedding plans.
Excellent. What do couples forget when they're planning a wedding?
Oh boy, that a destination wedding sounds terrific, but it's very hard on the wallet. I think they forget about that for their guests. Some people do it to kind of combine the honeymoon and combine the wedding itself, but it's very difficult for the people that they want to be there to take that big of a hit for a destination wedding. So I say save that for the honeymoon. Keep them separated, keep it a little bit old-fashioned, leave on your honeymoon later, and don't worry about dragging a lot of other people along.
Very cool. Is there a lot of etiquette involved in a wedding? And what are some of the most important etiquette tips to follow?
Absolutely. First and foremost, send out your invitations in a timely manner.
Okay, how far in advance is a timely manner?
6 weeks in advance.
Okay.
Usually people don't have things planned out for that far, but sending a save the date card is always strongly recommended.
Like a year in advance for save the date?
Sure. I would absolutely suggest a year in advance for a save the date, and then 6 weeks the actual invitation gets sent. And
Excellent.
then hopefully those guests will return those replies very
Yeah.
quickly, because my other tip is for the guests is get there on time.
Oh my goodness.
Get there on time. People always think that these things don't start on time. No, they don't, because they're waiting for you. So please get there, get seated so the bride can make her entrance and the party can begin.
Ah, good point. How can a wedding couple ensure that everyone is on their best behavior?
No open bar. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people say we're going to have an open bar at our wedding, but that's just asking for trouble. And I would say keep it very limited, or just put a couple of bottles of wine on the table like we did, and everyone's perfectly happy. Not everybody is showing up expecting to get rip-roaring drunk on an open bar. And when you combine alcohol and some tensions that you have with the normal congregation at a wedding, it's probably not a good idea. So I would strongly suggest no open bar.
So no uninhibited people saying things you don't want to, can't retract later.
Always a good idea.
Got
Always
it.
a good idea.
Got it. So what is your best piece of advice for a couple planning a wedding?
Well, I would say elaborate weddings they're wonderful. They're beautiful. It's the stuff that movies are made of. But is it really necessary? And when I was planning my wedding, I had labored over the chair covers. I mean, really, the chair covers. And someone had said to me very wisely that your biggest concern is that there's somebody in the chair, not what the chair looks like. And I said,
Excellent.
good point. So I'm not going to sweat having the chair covers.
So no small stuff. Some
Right.
things can go, and those little details aren't what people remember forever after.
Not at all. People do not remember those tiny little details.
Great. What happened at your own wedding that you would suggest to other couples?
Oh boy, I would strongly suggest having a friend act as your wedding planner if you don't hire an actual
So
wedding
have a day of
planner.
wedding planner or someone designated to take care of
Yes.
your day.
Yes, because I had a friend jump in and say, I'll be your wedding planner, your wedding coordinator, and I said, okay, that's fine. And what happened was, on the day of my wedding, the catering truck broke down.
Wow.
And
No food for fear.
Well, yeah, my friend intervened, and I never knew about it until afterwards. So I had somebody
Amazing.
kind of running pass interference for me. So the little stressors did not make it directly to me. Other people worried about it. So I would strongly suggest either a wedding coordinator or a wedding planner to avoid these little mishaps.
Excellent. How should a couple handle the stress of the expenses of planning a wedding?
I say, number one, exercise together. Do something
Cool.
physical, because I'm a big believer in exercise, getting those endorphins going. Communicate, definitely be able to talk to each other about things that might be stressing you out, and delegate. Don't be afraid to say, you need to do this, I've been doing these things, and I'll take over this if you'll be doing those things. So a lot of people just forget that it's okay to delegate, and it's not okay for the man to just show up to the wedding. And for women, men like to problem solve, so please give them little tasks, like maybe finding the best price on florist, or finding the best prices on the little party favors. They love to be able to do that, so don't be afraid to delegate.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Antoinette.
you so much.
Tell me your name of your business again.
It's Courtesy Boot Camp.
Excellent. And you specialize in?
I specialize in business etiquette, etiquette for adults and children, just a crash course in common courtesy, because we're all forgetting these days.
Excellent. The uncommon, common courtesy on Holly's hot wedding tips. Thank you.
Bye.